Today, we revisit an update on a classic. To answer the question, was rebooting Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers a brilliant move to capture 90s nostalgia, or just a cheap bootleg of a beloved classic? Plus, will Seth stump me in this week's trivia question?
Voice-over actors John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, both first full-length animated feature films characters, were named Ham, true or false?
Finally, we answered the biggest question. How are we going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at Grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic? So put your feet up on the detective desk. There's no case too big, no case too small. If you need help, just call. It's movie time at Grandma's house. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Welcome to Movies at Grandma's House, where we love to revisit the movies from our childhood to answer the question, does it still hold up? And is it family-friendly enough that even Grandma can enjoy? And I'm your host, Isaac. I guess some things are worth rebooted.
And this is Seth. You are under arrest, you low-rank Gumby.
Oh, it is great to see you, Seth. We are at Grandma's house considering a more recent film. So this is going to be a lot of fun, not without its nostalgia. So we're going to be having a lot of fun with this one. But as a reminder, for the ones at home, what is Grandma putting on for us to watch today?
2022's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
All right. And if you've never seen this film, we are going to be going into spoiler territory. So going forward, consider yourself warned. Well, let's get a little bit more about this movie and some film facts. So Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was released, actually, on Disney Plus streaming, not in theaters, May 20th, 2022. Keep that in mind when it comes to the rest of the stats as well. The budget was $70 million, but the box office, $623,000. Keep in mind, again, this was on streaming. Looking around at some reviews, IMDb, 6.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is an 81%. Letterboxd, 3.2 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can still watch it for free on Disney+. It stars John Mulaney, Andy Samberg, Kiki Lane, Seth Rogen, and many more. It's in association with Mandeville Films, Walt Disney Studios. And last but not least, we got to hear, how does Grandma feel about this one?
Granny's family-friendly rating for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is a B for animated violence and adult themes.
Right, so a few things to watch out for, but for the most part, pretty tame. So, if you have seen this movie, we would love to hear your thoughts, your rating as well, so be sure you leave us a comment down below. Well, Seth, again, this is more recent. However, this is based off of just pure 80s, 90s nostalgia, so I have to know, what are your first memories with this film? And feel free to bring out the TV show.
Oh, wow. The TV show. Okay. All right. So I saw this when it was pretty new, like it had just came out. And I've seen it many times since then. The TV show, I grew up watching that all the time. Well, a big fan, my siblings as well. Yeah, it was a big part of my childhood for sure. So when this was advertised as coming out, like I got really excited.
Yeah, that's probably my first memories is just kind of, really? They're bringing this back. And if you recall, like that was based off of early Disney shorts. There was a Chip and Dale that usually would get into it with Donald Duck. See, look, I'm confusing Looney Tunes. I always get them mixed up. But Donald Duck, they would clash. So they kind of rebooted it back in the 90s. So this is like a reboot of a reboot in a way. It's kind of interesting how they did that. But I mean, I was like, yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. It was interesting. It came out on streaming just during that time. You had COVID the years prior. It was still kind of the after effects, but I don't know if I saw it right away, but I did see it at the time. I remember my oldest really enjoyed it. He had a good time with it when we watched it, but the TV series is legendary to me. I had, I think, a few like episodes on a VHS tape. You could buy those, and I just watched that. I mean, I probably wore that tape out. I was a big fan of the TV series like you, just something I remember watching growing up. And come on, that theme song is untouchable. That's just like up there in one of my favorite theme songs. I'll find myself just humming it as I'm going to my day-to-day business. So to say there's not a lot of nostalgia with this one, there's no shortage, absolutely, when it comes to memories. But with all that said, again, they are bringing this back into the 2020s. What was your expectation going back on the rewatch?
So really, I was just getting ready for the journey of laughs because their humor is always there, and that's what makes it entertaining for me anyway.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just like, I got more kids now that I can watch this with. I've had a few since this came out, and to see what their reaction was. Something that they can enjoy. This is, again, something that is dear to me, just the IP, that Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, sharing that with them as much as this is a newer take on it. I was like, let's just have some fun with this. Let's just relive those fun, nostalgic memories. Well, before we get into the plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors.
Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today.
Okay, in this case, we can only watch it on streaming, so let's do that. Let's pull up Disney Plus, let's select Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, and press play.
Picking up 30 years after the animated series, we see Chip and Dale reunite to save an old friend. Will their differences be too much for them to overcome? Sit back and grab a snack as Granny puts on this hilarious comedy.
Oh, yes. Again, if you grew up watching the show, if you watched it in any capacity, it was kind of an interesting take watching this for the first time because it's like that was real life. It wasn't the show. You're seeing the behind the scenes. And it's just interesting how they kind of mix it in. The first impressions I have is it was giving me Who Framed Roger Rabbit vibes of live action and cartoon going together. So that's kind of what sticks out to me. It's just kind of this is like revisiting an old friend, picking up where he left off, literally, because that's what the story is telling you, modern day of these characters. But I got to know, what are your first impressions when you're watching the movie?
So really was humor first with this one. It's got a nice story. I just picked up on a lot of the jokes. Each time I watched it, I picked up on more jokes and more jokes. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. They go kind of the fourth wall breaking. Dale is kind of that narrator, but it's very much bringing that world back to you. And just, I can't help but just say, it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's just this world of cartoons. So it's a really fun world to be in. I think it's just kind of more for the adults. Is that not that it's got adult content, but I think if you were there in the 90s, if you watched this in some capacity, this was kind of like a love letter to those people. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree wholeheartedly. I think that it was really made for those who grew up with or around the series. And there's a callback to that, like you were talking about, nostalgia of the late 80s, early 90s. And it really was a love, like you said, I'll borrow your words, a love letter to the fans. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, because I couldn't help but just feel the nostalgia. They're showing clips of the show and Dale's narrating it, his take, what it was like to be on this quote unquote show, even though he's fiction, but it's like he's an actual person and talking. And it's just kind of funny. His personality, it's voiced by Andy Samberg. He does a terrific job. I really like him. He always makes me laugh in some way. And just somehow, some way he matches that character. But he's kind of telling the story at the beginning and you just see all the characters. You see that time of when the show was out. Now things are not so great because he wanted to kind of go his own way and be kind of the star on other things. And that's why the show, quote unquote, ended. Kind of funny. That's how they tell that story. And then all of a sudden, all these cartoons go missing. And it's up to them, just like an episode of, Chip and Dale of detective work. And that's what I was hoping for. I was like, I wonder what kind of story. I would think it'd be kind of like a mystery. You're trying to solve what's going on. But it doesn't go like, we're going to make this super complicated. I think it was, you could kind of see it coming. But I was okay with that. I mean, what'd you think of the story, the kind of the plot overall?
So I liked how the story finds the two separated, like you said. They separated ways and they need to mend fences, so to say. It's a very strong plot for an animated / live action adventure. A lot going on, a lot of little things and a couple of side plots. And even at the beginning, spoiler alert again, like they show them kind of like in the middle of everything and then they separate. And it's like they can't mend that rift between them, which is interesting because you wouldn't think it would go that way, but it played out really nicely.
Yeah. That was kind of the dynamic that was going on is they normally kind of clashed in the TV series, but it was all in good fun. It's just cartoon characters. This was adding to the story, that element of, yes, they're trying to solve this mystery, but they're also clashing with each other because Chip still has this chip on his shoulder when it comes to Dale for leaving the show or making it end. So that was kind of interesting. I think it was one of those, I don't know, just nice, but it was a little off at times, I will admit. And maybe that was more of the live action. I don't think it was too bad, but I would say maybe the only fault is it was a little slow at times for the story. Like it was kind of a start and go a little bit. Maybe I'm just too picky on that, but it does have that twist I've brought out on other movies that do that, of just kind of the gotcha. It's the guy that you least expect. It turns out to be the chief of the police, and all in hilarity. They keep calling him like a cheap Gumby or something. I forget what the quote is exactly, but it's hilarious, and just that type of thing. So I can't complain really honestly about it. But if I'm going to point out, maybe the story could have been ironed out a little bit better, but it works. It's going to be entertaining to you nonetheless. We kind of jumped into it a little bit. I don't know where you want to start. There's so many characters in this, but what'd you think of the characters?
I'll just start with it, and then maybe you can help me out. So, Andy as Dale is perfect, bringing out his great performance, and then John as Chip is another winner in the casting. I'm a big fan of both of them, like you mentioned. You are too. Just great comedic actors and writers themselves. The entire group of voiceover actors, all of them, really shine, bringing out the humor and the serious parts of the family adventure. I'm a huge fan of this whole cast. I mean, if you want to highlight some of them, feel free, because there's so many. I mean, there's like 20 characters in this movie.
Again, I get those Who Framed Roger Rabbit vibes, because they're just randomly walking across the screen, and that's what kind of makes it fun. If you just sit there and obviously a scene is playing out where they're trying to pick up clues, or they're trying to find this trail of where these cartoons went missing, and you'll just see them walk across. And that was kind of what I had a lot of fun with. I mean, there was, at the beginning, you had Roger Rabbit himself. He makes an appearance. There's the old gang, though. You got Chip and Dale, obviously. Monterey Jack ends up being one of the cartoons that disappears, but he does make an appearance. You got Gadget and Zipper that makes up the original crew. But then Sweet Pete, he's the villain, the one that's the chief, ends up being the one that's behind all of that, of converting these characters into like morphed hybrid, whatever you want to call them. It's kind of humorous, actually, when you look at how they go. But you have Ellie. She's like the human cop. She's a big fan of the series. So I liked her character. She added to it. She did a good job on that, and seemed convincing of she was a big fan, because she shows all the tapes that she has. That felt like me. I was like, yep, that's probably something I would do, like have all these, recorded or bought tapes of all the episodes in some shape or form. But you also have Ugly Sonic making an appearance. That was kind of fun, because if you know anything about the Sonic movie, that was the original concept in animated Sonic. There was uproar, went back, and Paramount spent a bunch of money to do the reanimation, thankfully, because they even acknowledge this is Ugly Sonic. That's how they refer back to him. And he's actually kind of funny. He's at Comic-Cons, just at booths and stuff. What'd you think of that?
I've got a fun fact on that. I'll save. So, I really appreciated all the side characters. Even the short cameos, they didn't even speak words in the movie. Just all of them were great. Ugly Sonic was hilarious. I feel like they could have utilized him a little bit more even. But yeah, it was just a really well put together cast.
Yeah. I think like the voice act, like I said, Andy Samberg does great. John Mulaney, he plays Chip well. That is kind of your straight guy. So I think they did a really good job on casting with him. In my mind, going into it, I was thinking it would be a little more energetic, because Chip is also energetic from the show. But as I was watching it, I started to like it more. But my first reaction was like, this doesn't seem right. It's a little off. But again, it's telling the story of not the show. These are the characters outside of it. So it actually works really well once you get into that world and you're brought into it. So the voice acting, I'll just go right with you. Like Seth Rogen, I think he does a good job. He plays that Viking. And then I think it's Pumbaa shows up at one point, and that's him. So it's funny little gags like that, just pop culture references. If you are familiar with them and you catch them, it'll make you chuckle at the very least, of just, you're pointing them out. So I can't say enough about it. Like, they did such a good job on making those characters work. Like, I'm a big fan of make sure the person fits the role. It's not that a person can't be good, but make sure they just fit the role. And they just did a really good job with this. I can't say enough about it, especially, like I said, once you get into that world, it does a really good job of playing off it with the gags and such. But yeah, there's probably, I couldn't keep track of all the quotes, but is there any quotes that are kind of memorable to you?
There's so many, but I just wrote down one. So I hope you like this one. So I think it's the one bad guy. I forget his name. I think it's is it Will Arnett that plays him?
Oh,
is he the bad guy? Was one of the bad guys?
I
anyway,
think so. Yeah.
His quote is, I was always more of an Alvin and the Chipmunks fan guy. I love that. I love that quote.
And then Chip says, "You monster." That was a great one. I love that one. I had that.
I love
down.
it.
And I was actually going to say, as far as quotes, there's so many of them, but
Yes.
that was what was memorable. And before that, they're telling Chip to calm down. They have him tied up and they're like, "Keep your pants on." And Chip's like, "I don't wear pants." Such a funny pun. I don't know. I eat that up. Like, it's silly, but I mean, that's what this movie is doing. It's pretty much telling you at the beginning, this is going to be a silly time. Even makes references like in the opening. Again, Dale's narrating about the TV show and just, I mean, I had a good time with that. I think I enjoy that humor. Maybe that humor isn't for everybody, but I definitely chuckled and laughed a few times. But anything else, any scenes or anything else to touch on?
Yeah, so I like the movie, how it progresses with the leads putting their differences aside for the better good. As they spend more time together, they start to realize that just how different they've grown apart, but also how much they make a great team together. So they told that well. Like the arc of both of their characters were really well told, and especially towards like the middle to the ending of the film, it's like you really start to like think about how they've worked on trying to just, we got to get this done and we're going to put our differences aside. I really like that. I thought that was really well played out.
Yeah. I like when that movie can do that, of having not just here's a plot, here's some characters that are fine, but you're familiar with it if you watch the show, obviously. But they still built on that. They built on this, like, what happens if they go their separate ways? I mean, Chip becomes this like salesman, and it's just, I don't know. I get a good kick out of that, of like, what if they were really in the real world, so to say, and this is what they're doing modern day, because obviously they were a big hit back in the 90s. Everybody knew them, but now they're just kind of, Dale's now converted into the CGI character and trying to make this comeback. He's at Comic Cons and booths on the other hand. So now you have this clashing of Chip kind of moving on and they have to work together. So I agree with you. That was really well told, that dynamic of characters. And we're suckers for character arcs, right? I mean, it's just like, come on, we're going to eat that up every single time.
So maybe you were going to save this real quick, but I want to get your opinion on what did you think of it being partially live action?
Yeah, so maybe that's another gripe I have. I think it was well done, but that's a good point you brought up. I noticed a little bit of the animation when it was CGI. It was a little bit off. Did you notice that? It was just some of the time.
Slightly, yeah. There are parts.
Yeah, it just seemed like it could have been a little better. I think it works, though. Like, to answer your question about the live action, I like that because it reminded me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I thought to myself, why don't they go that route, other than maybe it was a high budget and it was a lot of work? If you know anything about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, that a lot of people were like, it was very stressful and a lot of work, a lot of money. So other than that, though, I kept thinking to myself, like, why don't they do more movies like that? I really enjoyed it. I'm maybe can critique it a little bit of like the scene where Chip gets captured. I made a note of it because I was just kind of like, that really was noticeable. If it was a little bit, it's okay. But like Chip gets captured and Dale's going, no, 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 no. You can actually see his mouth's not synced up quite with the voiceover, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it wasn't like that the whole time. So that's why I'm like, I can't knock it too much. But if I want to be that perfectionist, like critiquing, I'm like, I wish they would have just went a little bit farther, especially on a $70 million budget. You would think they would be able to get that fixed. But overall, yeah, I think it was a great world. What did you think of it?
So, I mean, so you've got the cartoon, the CGI, and live action.
Yeah.
And so I thought they mixed it really well. It's funny because when I started the movie, I was like, well, how are they going to animate this? Like, what are they going to do? And then within the first 5 minutes, you're like, oh, that's what they're going to do. And it was interesting. And I think there are imperfections, but overall, I'm kind of shocked at how good it was as far as the animation.
Yeah. I'd say the majority of the time it was good. Like, I agree with you. I was like, they did a good job with this. It was just that, it's like, man, I kind of shake my head a little bit when it's noticeable because no movie is perfect. I just want to say that clear as day. If you look at any movie that is considered a masterpiece, you could find like little mics hanging, little things in the special effect. It's going to happen. There's no perfect movie. But when it took me out a little bit. I mentioned that scene because it's supposed to be dramatic of like Chip's getting separated because he gets in this bag at the Comic-Con, they grab him and he's going like, no, no, no. It just kind of took me out of that scene. It would have been more impactful if that would have been fixed and it synced up right, if that makes sense. But overall, yeah, I think they did a great job with it. All right. Well, you mentioned they had some fun facts. Something like this. I mean, I'm so excited to hear what you got.
All right, so the first one is the role of Ugly Sonic was originally meant to be Jar Jar Binks, the much hated character from Star Wars.
Wow, they must not have been able to. But it's
I don't think it
Disney.
was that. I think it was actually they wanted to play off the humor of it, and it would be more funny with Ugly Sonic than Jar Jar Binks. I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
You would think it would be like they didn't get the rights for it, but they spent a lot of money on this movie, so I'm pretty sure they could have got it.
Yeah. And I mean, Disney owns Star Wars now. So that's why I'm like,
I don't think it was. I don't think that was the issue. I think they were like, Ugly Sonic's going to play better, and it did. It played really funny.
yes, I agree. I almost wish they did both. Wouldn't that have been hilarious if there was a booth of Jar Jar Binks next to Ugly Sonic?
Yes.
Maybe just didn't work. They're the professionals that are looking at things going, it doesn't work. But in my mind, I think it would have worked having like that. He just springs up annoyingly at the worst possible times. Just,
I agree.
Jar Jar Binks. And I think that would have added to it, but that's still pretty cool to think about.
All right, so the second fun fact is another Ugly Sonic fun fact. So Chris Rock and Josh Gad were considered to voice Ugly Sonic.
Okay.
So those are interesting choices that they considered. So I'm wondering if there's a list, like that would be nice to hear, because these are the people that like are the pros, and you know what I mean. Like I'm like wondering who else was on that list. So that was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
The next one is at 53 minutes and 39 seconds. One of the alternate models of Chip and Dale is shown as Ren and Stimpy. Now, this is when they're being scanned. They're being scanned, and they show different like formations of them, and they have different like Simpsons and stuff like that. I think like they have different, so they could turn into those or whatever. And they had Ren and Stimpy. I thought that was really funny.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, that's again, going back to what we're saying, like you're going to probably miss a bunch of stuff the first time through. There's so many little stuff, but I love that. That's awesome.
All right. So this you might have a problem with. So animation took half of the film's budget.
I mean, see, I nitpicked it earlier a little bit, but it's like, I understand, like it still was well done. Like that's a lot to ask of your animators of being able to put them in a live action. Like you said, it's not traditional and live action. It's like three things going on.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just me or what, but I caught a few times where it actually took me out. Like I said, I don't care about little things here or there, but that's kind of a shame. Like, man.
Yeah. I was a little shocked because, not that anything's wrong for me. Like I didn't, I'm not complaining or anything. It's just, they had a big budget basically. And a lot of the actors that they got, they must've did a really, took a low paycheck for this.
Yeah.
Because they got a lot of names, And to think that half the budget went to animation, that's like really surprising to me. Like I'm like blown away by that fact.
I am too. I mean, we really didn't touch on like, I was just going to say, and I made a note of like, it's kind of fun to watch the credits. You know me, I like to stay through the credits. It's just name after name after name of characters. And it's so fun. Like, oh, I don't remember seeing that. So it makes you almost want to go back and watch it again. Because there's just, think of any cartoon character. It's probably showing up in the credits. I mean, you mentioned Will Arnett, Sweet Pete, Keegan-Michael Key is in it, David Tennant, Paul Rudd, Eric Bana. You have, I'm going through this list and it's just like, what? Like, I don't remember that. We mentioned, of course, Seth Rogen too. Chris Parnell, that kind of goes hand in hand. You see him and Andy Samberg and a lot of stuff. J.K. Simmons, Dennis Haysbert, he was a Zipper. He had that deep voice, the Allstate guy. So you go through this list. I mean, it's just like, wow. Like, how did they, like you said, I am a little surprised that the majority went to animation and not these stars, because they had to have taken a pay cut. I agree.
All right. So it's time for our fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I am ready. Oh, I hope I don't do any disrespect. I say I'm a big Chip and Dale fan. Let's see if I can hold up to that.
So I come across these fun facts. I search for them. And sometimes I want to do other than true and false, but sometimes it just makes sense. So it's another true or false. So you got 50-50. So true or false, and I hope this makes sense. Voice-over actors John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, both first full-length animated feature films characters, were named Ham. True or false?
Oh, their first that they've ever done was named Ham. That just sounds like a coincidence that is so odd and random. I'm going to say true, but maybe you really got me there.
It's true.
Really?
It's true. I forget the movie that Andy Samberg did, but of course, John Mulaney voiced Ham in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
so yeah, that is a really strange, odd coincidence.
That is. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I think I remember one of them.
Yeah.
That's right. He was
You did a
in
good job.
the
Good job. Congratulations.
Yes. All right. You can keep
That
doing
was not
true or
an easy
false.
question. That
No.
was
I was about to say false. I was about to because I'm like, this sounds a little
so
bit made
wacky,
up.
right?
Yeah. I'm like, it almost seems like one of them would have, but I just didn't know if both of them. So, all right. I think I'm perfect so far this season. I don't know. I keep coming with those true or false. I'm not going to complain. I get like you said, a 50-50 shot. So I can take any kind of odds in my favor that I can. So, all right. Well, before we get to our rating, we like to look around the net to see what kind of reviews are out there. Being a recent movie, I'm going to be really curious. So, Seth, what kind of reviews you seeing?
All right, so the first one was MB-Reviewer185 said, "It's not a reboot, it's a comeback, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's right. It's a comeback. They say reboot, and it's kind of like that. Like I could see if they continue this movie into a sequel or a TV series, it is kind of its own thing. It's not anything to do with the TV show, so to say. It does, but you know what I mean? It's not a continuation of that. So it's kind of like a reboot, but I would agree. It's more like a comeback.
All right, so you'll like this one because it goes along with the last one. And this is another repeat offender. Jeremy Crimson Fox says, Rescue Rangers comeback example of how meta should be done, 9 out of 10.
That's right. That's a great way to put it. It's very meta. That's a great way to describe it because it's just, you're going to appreciate it more with the references. Absolutely. If you're not sure about the pop culture of the 90s and what it kind of sprinkles in there, you're not going to probably laugh as much. So that's a great way. That's a good one.
And the last one's kind of long, so I'll try to get this in here. Sam the Bestest said, my entire childhood nostalgia from cartoon to comic book put together in a live-action animated compilation, 6 out of 10.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, it's just, if you want that kick of nostalgia, this is going to be it, especially if you're a fan of the series. Really, Disney, they rebooted a bunch of stuff back then. So it kind of gives you those vibes. It kind of makes references of that even in the movie if you're paying really close attention. So I agree with that. That's a good one. Okay, well, we also like to put this through the kid test. I put it kind of simply. Actually, my kids liked it, but I'm going to go back to what I said before. They didn't get a lot of the pop culture references. So I was actually kind of chuckling and laughing a little bit more than they were, but they had a good time. They found, like you were talking about, where they're getting scanned and they're in peril or things. They found that kind of stuff funny. But overall, I think they were all kind of universal. Like, that was okay. You know, they didn't really give me a rating. It's hard to say. Sometimes they're very excited to tell me an actual rating. They just seem like it's okay, but we'll see what happens maybe if we come back to it again and get their take on it. So we kind of mentioned Granny's rating. There's not really too much to be concerned about. It does have that mystery, kind of the cop feel, but it's not, I would say, too much. There might be like some scary elements. They get to the part where, you know, Peter Pan, and again, that's another character we didn't mention. Peter Pan's in this, by the way. And like that crew, they're capturing the cartoons. It's kind of dark and gritty at times, but nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing that I thought, oh my, this is not good for them. It was pretty kid friendly, I would say, overall. So you should have a good time with the kids. All right, well, let's get down to it. It is that time to give our official rating. So let's start with you, Seth. When it comes to the film, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, how are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
So I'm a big fan of the cartoon and the movie. I'm going to take this home because it really hits me in the funnies. So I really enjoyed this one.
Very nice. Yes, this is, like I said, a love letter to the fans that you're going to enjoy this one. There's a lot of references you're probably not going to get. I might have even, some things flew over my head. I'll be honest with you. It does have kind of that fast pace going on that you might need to watch this a few times to really appreciate it. I think you're going to have fun the first time through. I was actually, I'll be honest, a little back and forth on if I wanted to take this home. I think it's well done. It's not any knock. For now, I'm actually going to watch this at grandma's just because I feel this is a good movie to come back to every once in a while. I'm probably not going to put this on all the time. And even coming back to it every once in a while, you might actually appreciate it more. So I'll be interested if we ever cover this again. Maybe my rating changes because I've watched it a few more times. But if you're a fan of the series, I can't recommend this enough. Like, you're going to just have a great time. The references, the comedy, the humor. I mean, again, the only knock I would really say is just, I wish there was it just wasn't that like, it was so close. Like they could have ironed out the kinks a little bit more. And I probably would have been like, I'm taking this home. I want to watch this all the time. But a few times I was just taken out of it. And that's probably a me thing. So all I can say is watch for yourself. If you're a fan of the series, what are you doing? Like, go back for the nostalgia. Absolutely. Okay, well, there you go, folks. Another movie in the books. This was a more recent film. But again, no shortage of the nostalgia from, my goodness, you're talking 30 years ago. That's just, I cannot believe it. I just feel old. We say that all the time, but it's not any less true when you're looking at things like this. But before we go, we want to make sure we tell the good people where they can find us. So Seth, where can people connect with us?
You can find us on YouTube, Threads, Facebook, and Instagram at Movies at Grandma's House, and on TikTok at LADX Media. Feel free to email us movie suggestions, memories you may have, comments to movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a very excellent newsletter, so check that out, become a member. And we're on Patreon with new exclusive content for our loyal fans. As always, we are brought to you by movieposters.com, so you please use code Grandma's House, that's all one word, at checkout for up to 15% off.
There you go. Thank you, good sir. That's a lot, but you can find us all kinds of places. And the big thing is make sure you're on a newsletter because we'd love to give away free stuff. That's where you will be entered for a free movie poster from movieposters.com. Big shout out to them. Awesome people over there. And if you want to connect with us like directly, you might find us lurking on Threads. It's kind of like a lot of people said it used to be like Twitter, X, whatever. But we kind of lurk on there a little bit. So if you want to drop us a line, get in on the conversation, we got a lot of movie discussion going on there. So come join the fun. But either way, drop us a line, your memories, your ratings of movies that we've covered, or any requests. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So be sure to connect with us in some shape or form. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house. But don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.